Can we have Mike Henderson come forward? They're standing for you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great to see you. Mike Henderson showed his softball talent early, helping his high school team win the 1972 Nova Scotia Open High School Championship, then playing for the team which won the 1973 Maritime Junior Championship. He fast became a real student of the game. He learned to switch hit. He mastered bat control, being able to produce drag, sacrifice, or slap bunts as required. And he executed the hit and run to perfection. Could the Braves have used you? Oh, man. He really had no weaknesses as a player. He was an incredibly skilled fielder, drawing rave reviews from his fellow players, who all designate him as the best second baseman any of them had ever seen. In addition to this, his high-level fielding and hitting, his quickness, daring, and calculating ability made him a wonderful base runner as well. His recall and study of opponents allowed him to position himself and his teammates with great accuracy, turning many hard smashes into routine outs. Mike's intelligence allowed him to develop revolutionary new defensive schemes for his team, which in time were adopted by teams all through the region. He also set the standard for double play execution, being able to turn the pivot better than anybody. During his career, he was awarded the Infielder of the Year award 6 years in a row and 8 times in total. The Brookfield Elks, with whom he played most of his softball, were 9 times Nova Scotia senior champions. In 1968, their first year in the big time, they won the Nova Scotia and Maritime Senior A titles to begin a dynasty which has made the Brookfield Elks synonymous with top-flight softball in the nation. 7 times they have represented Nova Scotia in the Canadian Senior A Championships. In 1977, the Brookfield Elks placed second in the National Fastball Tournament held in Hull, Quebec. The Elks were the youngest club in the 5-day affair, and towards the end, they were the most popular team in the competition. In the final analysis of the tournament, Mike Henderson was the class of the infielders. He hit safely 8 out of 19 times at bat and made some sensational plays in the field. With Mike Henderson serving as co-captain, the Brookfield Elks softball team won their 4th Nova Scotian championship in a row in 1980. 80 was a great year. They beat Shubenacadie in a best-of-5 series, 3-1. They were once more on their way to representing Nova Scotia in the Canadian Championships. Both the Elks and the Dartmouth Dairy Queen teams had won silver medals, but no team east of Ontario had ever won the national title. They left dreaming of gold medals. The best 13 teams in Canada were waiting for them. In Saskatoon, all of them had the same dream. The Elks ended the first round in a 6-team tie for first place with a 3-1 record, having lost only to Ontario 2-1 in extra innings. After an array of exciting playoff games, they ended up playing the favored home team in the final. The Elks scored in the first when Mike Henderson singled, was sacrificed to second and scored on a single. Saskatchewan tied it in the bottom of the inning. It looked like it was going to be a wide open game. When the Elks scored 2 more in the second, Mike Worsley smashed an RBI single after a walk and a sacrifice. Then he was sacrificed to second, and a Mike Henderson single drove him home, making the score 3-1. The Elks eventually won the national title and the game 4-3. The team also went on to represent Canada in the World Series of Softball in Santa Clara, California. They came home with bronze medals. This time, Mike Henderson stole the show when he made several unbelievable fielding plays at second with not one error in the entire tournament. He managed to lead the Elk hitters as well with an average of 381. They were met as heroes at the airport. Once again, the entire community of Brookfield was out tooting and singing when they returned with their Canadian championship in tow. Hundreds of their supporters met them, put them on a wagon, and escorted them to their sportsplex. From miles away, those who stayed home to prepare for the celebration could hear horns blaring and hundreds of people singing, "We're number one," which indeed they were. And why wouldn't these people be out to celebrate their Elks accomplishment? After all, it was only 2 o'clock in the morning at the time. Dedicated fans, Mike. Mike Henderson was also a member of the Elks silver medal team in 1977 and a 2-time bronze medal winner in 1978 and 1986. During this period, as you might imagine, Henderson was recruited to play for teams all over the world, but his loyalty to his home team and his teammates came to the fore time and again as he turned down all the offers and stayed in Brookfield. Mike Henderson, ladies and gentlemen, was acclaimed All-Canadian second baseman on 3 different occasions, 1977, 78, and 84. He played for the national team in several postseason tournaments. In 1979, he helped Canada win the gold medal at the Pan Am Games in Puerto Rico. He was also picked up by other Nova Scotian teams to join them in the years the Elks did not win. One other note about Mike Henderson. He's a man who in 1983 reluctantly turned down a chance to play with Canada's national team at the Pan Am Games because the dates conflicted with his wedding. He's a smart fella. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Henderson. From Stanfields Limited, can we have Mr. Bev Young, former Stanfields Vice President and current board member, come forward, as well Hall of Famer Don Wheeler, softball builder, inducted to the Hall of Fame in 1989. Mike Henderson, ladies and gentlemen. Most baseball players, softball players, love to swing the bat, and you were acclaimed, obviously, for your defense. Is that something you took pride in?
Yeah, I did. Maybe it was because I wasn't the best hitter going, so I figured I better make it up with a glove, but it was a little more sacrificing, perhaps. Everybody likes to hit. I liked it in the field.
They said your techniques were revolutionary. What about them at the time were so new?
It was a simpler time. There wasn't the advanced study put in, and there wasn't the attention to detail. We found with our crew, we had a bunch that was eager to learn and receptive to new ideas. Coach Terry Henderson was in the forefront of this as well, and we were a more than eager audience. We won some games we probably wouldn't have because of our execution.
You still wear your championship ring very proudly. National championships just do something to you inside, don't they?
Yeah, the year before, as you mentioned, I'd had the chance to play in the Pan Am Games, and we'd won that for Canada, and that was a special moment. But the next year in Saskatoon, nothing has topped that. Our own guys, almost all of us from home, as you mentioned, career and life choices I had made, all about staying in Brookfield. And those guys, a lot of them are here, they got me there.
The teammates are here tonight, and their support obviously was big. Your thoughts on them and what they meant to you?
Well, I was, as I said, very lucky. I had enjoyed some success at the national, international level. It was many times, trust me, that those guys were very responsible for getting me there, getting us out of the provincials or the local leagues. And there probably should be 6 of them up here. Of course, they all already are enshrined in the hall with the 1980 team. But some of those teammates, Robert Putnam, Bobby Campbell, Steve Locke, Robbie Cook, just incredible athletes in their own right. You're
still a young guy. Do you miss the competition a lot?
I guess I found other avenues, whacking golf balls and things like that. But got to compete, that's for sure. And the skates still fit, so yeah. Keep at it.
Well, keep competing. Mike Henderson, ladies and gentlemen.